gonna give in now. I think gonna live this now. I think gonna be man, I'ma kill this stuff real quick. I'ma go take it to town, cause I gotta be that king in the ring when I'm knocking them out when I'm back with the whip. Cause I am just up on the journey. Know that I'm just going to say.
Warriors, rise. Grand rising. Good evening, Warriors all over the world. Excited to be with you guys with one of my best friends, Johnny Krypto with a K. We're going to kick it off today. We're going to be talking about exit plans, and it's most appropriate to talk about it right now. So we're going to talk about is Merlin. We're going to talk about it being live today. We're going to break down the synthesis and the origin of Merlin and how we got here. And I also want to talk about business as well and doing business and the way we create our ecosystems as well, how we design these businesses. And I truly believe that we're supposed to expand consciousness, not to repeat consciousness. And hopefully through our story, you'll see what's possible for you. So first of all, Johnny Krypto with a K, coming off of the Ripple event. How you feeling, brother?
Oh my God, Coach, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I love you. Like you said, best friend. More than that, you are really have been a huge, tremendous influence in my life. So I love you so much. But that event was so humbling, so wonderful. I mean, it was challenging. The earth didn't want us there, but Abs and I kept finding ways, floods everywhere. But we said, we're coming nonstop. No trade with trades, plates, all whatever it took. We got there, Coach. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. It was great to just see how much love was there and to see how we're helping and improving lives. That was the most humbling thing for me. When you set out to do a mission, which is help others, and then you hear from people that you are actually truly delivering on that mission, that is a really, really rewarding thing. And we have a lot to thank to you for that. So very, very grateful for you. Love you so much.
Great. Love you too, man. Let's talk about that experience first. So if you guys don't know, we all went to the I think about half of our team made it to the Ripple event this last weekend, and it was in New York. So and it was pretty neat because people live in those areas, Florida, all of the different places around there, and so everybody kind of crashed down on New York. And a flood came, guys. Like it was Thursday, I think a flood hit, and then Friday a flood hit. And where we were at, I was staying in Queens, and Bronx was like flooded. The subways got flooded. It was pretty wild, and it was pretty funny. We said that Ripple brought all the liquidity to New York, which was pretty damn neat. So, and then you guys, it was funny because Johnny and we went to the Link 2 event, me and Jeremy, and then we were back and forth with messages. I think it was you, Abs, and your cousin as well were stuck. Like the train shut down, didn't they?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Coach, check this out. So there was, like you said, floods going on everywhere. And the trains, here's a exit. So check that out, Coach.
Wow.
Yeah, check that out. Can you see that? I don't know if I can make that.
Yeah. We can see
it. That was really crazy, man. There was water coming everywhere, and so it was really challenging. And we got on the train, and we thought we were going to Grand Central. We're on the train, and they said, "We're sorry, this train is not going to make it to Grand Central. It stopped in the Bronx." And so then from there, they said you could take the subways. Well, check this out. When we got there, the subways were shut down because of what you see, all this water that was coming in here. And so, it was crazy, but we just took, cars and other ways to get there and everything we could do possible. And we didn't make it, as you know, to the Link 2 event. We weren't able to get there. But we were able to finally meet up. Well, I'm trying to find a picture. We were able to finally meet up with you guys. Yeah, look at that beautiful.
That was great, man.
Finally met up with you guys there in the city, and it took us 4 hours to go 1 hour. But we were happy to finally get there and be there with you. It was just an amazing, amazing, amazing time.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's what it's all about: family, friends, and love. And that event, guys. Have you? Like I think next year, is it Brad? What's his name? Brad. He's doing this event next year. If you guys haven't been to any of these Ripple events or XRP events, I think Brad Carnes, he does XRP Las Vegas. If you haven't gone, I highly recommend going to his event. Same type of frequency, same people, just the energy was insane. It was Brad Kimes. It was absolutely insane. And so just a lot of really cool people, like-minded individuals. There was like a line, I think it was like 43 blocks or something. Like there was a massive line outside. Let me turn this off. It keeps making noise here. There we go. But yeah, so well, shoot, we're here here to talk about Merlin, man. So that's really exciting. So, first of all, I want to share with people a little bit the story of Merlin. And we are the co-founders of Merlin. And so it's very important. And many of our team members are part of the Merlin ecosystem. So anything in our Warrior Academy, I want to make this very clear with you guys, is we've kind of built this model, we built this model where we don't, personally for me, I don't accept sponsorships. I only deal with things within my own ecosystem and things that we've created, because we built this ecosystem in 3T Warrior Academy, where we have an organic strategy where within our community, we've had over 9 companies that we have equity in, 7 that are active. And then we have 32 companies total within the Warrior Academy. Now, why am I bringing that up? Because we talk a lot about spirituality, connecting back to the ether. And through that, creation happens. And so Merlin came over 2 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Over 2 years ago. So it was our first retreat. Go ahead.
2 years as of this month, we started the company. So that's right.
Yeah. So I remember Johnny came in. So basically to share with you guys, and you may have heard this story before, but I think it's important to reiterate so you can be part of the experience, because that's the beauty behind companies. Is Merlin the Wizard was created through a conversation because Crypto was the one that brought up exit strategies to me. And I was like, oh shit, I don't really have an exit strategy. I mean, I have a strategy, but I don't have an exit strategy. So maybe really think about that. I have a plan for everything in my life, my fitness, my mindset, but I really didn't have an exit strategy for my cryptocurrency. And so we put our brains together, and then there was another guy named David, and then Mario, and then Johnny, and the team put their heads together and came up with a spreadsheet. And so for years now, we've all carried around a spreadsheet. And so we have these spreadsheets. And I remember my life has changed pretty dramatically over the last 2 years. About 2 years ago, I was still training 9 sessions a day within our HIT training facility, which is 3T Fitness of the Warrior Academy. And I remember I would have my little spreadsheet in my pocket, and I'd be in my gym clothes. I'm like, and people would be, Twitter would start going off or whatever. But he's like, oh, this is pumping. And it was during the bull run. And I'd pull out my little spreadsheet, and I felt bad, man, because I was training clients, and I'm like, oh shit, I got to go figure this out. And so by the time I would get there, it would miss my target, and then I would forget. And then it was just like this process. Now, we still were pretty close to our target, but if we had something like Merlin, and this is the key to entrepreneurship for all of you guys, the bigger problem you can solve for humanity, the bigger amount of wealth you can do, right? If you can solve problems for humanity, the largest amount of wealth you can do. That's why Ripple and XRP is such a large company and be a massive organization, because they're solving a massive, no pun intended, New York flood liquidity crisis, right? So basically, what happened is Johnny comes in and says, wait a minute, man, that's how Johnny's brain works. Comes in, he says, hey, I got this idea. He walks in, it was right before our conference, I think, and he shows us this idea of an app. And we're like, yes, it's like that sacral, this is it. And who would have thought, man, 2 years later, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think it's 36,000. This is all built from the ground up, guys. This is literally this isn't like some white label app that was created. This was built line by line, code by code, all the way to the launch today, which is Merlin, and is going public today. So 36,000 lines of code. But let's talk a little bit about the trials, the tribulations, the ups and downs, because a lot of people going into entrepreneurship don't realize, the things like the anticipation of launch and then backing off, and then a code being off, and you have to go through and rewrite all the code because it's not a white labeled app. And so, share with me some of the things you went through to get to this point, man.
Yeah, coach, it's kind of, I kind of attribute it to when people say, oh, Johnny, I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm like, okay, just be prepared to go on a roller coaster ride. Put your seatbelt on, because you're going to go up and you're going to go down. You're going to have great days and you're going to have crappy days. And that's just really what it takes. Or that's the experience. Let me refresh. That's the experience that you're going to go through whenever you're trying to start any new business. And coach, nobody knows it better than you. You've been up and down that roller coaster so many times with 3T and the things you've gone through. Now, the key to getting through those up and down days is you have to have, what I would say the most important thing is persistence.
Yes.
You have to have a no quit attitude. Most success, if you talk to most billionaires and millionaires, they will tell you the number one attribute they have is persistence. Now, unfortunately, and everyone tells me, oh my God, Johnny, you're so persistent. My persistence is a double-edged sword, right? Because it can go like sometimes I'm too much of a bulldog. But the reality is, you try to control it, but that persistence, man, if you can cultivate that energy and put it towards something good, as I think we're doing here, then you can create a product or a service or something, and just the way you've done too, coach. I love the story that Jeremy always talks about you. Like, you just keep running into the wall. If you hit the wall, you push over, you run into the next, and you keep going. And I really think that's the key. Persistence is what will help you to success. And that's what we did. For 2 years, we continued down the road of finding and debugging, and we ended up fixing over 237 bugs in total, and still continue on 36,000 lines of code to be able to bring to the public an app that we think is going to help solve a big problem. And you said it, right? It is having that exit strategy and knowing when to get out. And also, more importantly, in this space, when I got involved, what I realized was I had all these different coins, and I had them on all these different exchanges, just like you did, right? You're using crypto.com or Kraken or BitTrue or Coinbase or Binance. And what I realized quickly was, I don't know what my portfolio value is. I'm like, I have to go to each one of these 5 exchanges to see what they're doing. But now all I know is the total. So, okay, so great. I know the total, but I don't know if I'm up or down. I don't know how much I'm up or down. And that's when I was like, we need a spreadsheet to be able to do this thing. And then when you brought up the whole idea of, hey, you also got to have an exit plan, it's like, holy shit, if we marry the idea of an exit plan with the spreadsheet, boom, there it was. That was the day Merlin was born. And so going through 2 years of it, now we're finally excited to say that we've completed Merlin. It's out there. And of course, there's always going to be small bugs along the way that we're trying to work. But as of today, Coach, and that is the big announcement, we are super excited. Guys, the doors are open. We've been drawing people to the wait list, and we gave over 7,000 people access to it early, Coach. But that is no longer there. And now, as of today, anybody can join Merlin. Just simply go down to the link below or click or go to www.merlincrypto.com, and you can sign up for Merlin today and get your free 30-day trial.
That's awesome. Congratulations, man, first of all. And so let's dive into what the hell is an exit plan, right? So people watching this too, like a lot of people, when I say that on my TikToks or my videos, they're like, that sounds all great, JV, Johnny, but what is an exit plan? So what I think it's important for us to all share from my perspective, and maybe you could share from yours. So for me, like one of the biggest things that I've been looking at a lot is I call it funny money, right? So like you got cryptocurrency and fiat currency, which is our paper dollar, which is all fake money. So then this is not to offend people in crypto, but just hear me out on this. Like anything that is quantum in a computer, if I walk into a bank, you know, they tell me I have X $20 in my bank account, it's in a quantum computer. It's actually someone else's debt. There's really no money there, right? So we know that. So we know there's no real money in the system. So we're taking fake money to buy cryptocurrency, right? Which is in a quantum computer. So no, now, and they're really good investments. That's what we're focused on, right? Speculative asset. We don't know what's going to happen with regulation. So the importance of an exit plan became very, very clear to me as when we went from 2021 to 2022, and I saw my portfolio drop 85%. Now, thank God I had a very strict plan. What is it, about 85%? Was it dropped our portfolios? I think it was about 80, 85%, 75. I think it felt like 85%. It was just massive drop. It was like there was money coming from everywhere. And all of a sudden they just shut the faucet off. It was like, who are they? We've already figured that out on the back end. We won't get into that conversation, but they shut off the faucet, and now we're in accumulation phase. So when you're in accumulation phase, it's really important to create an exit plan, but that's in anything. So, you know, we do it in business. Why wouldn't we do it in cryptocurrency? Now, one of the biggest things that Johnny and I teach people is to do the opposite of the 99%, right? So right now, as we're sitting, we're all dollar cost averaging into crypto. Some are buying larger amounts than others. I'm not buying large amounts. I'm just dollar cost averaging every Friday. And then when I see a big dip based on the capital markets, I believe they're going to pull back on the back end of this year purposely, because Q1, we're going to have a Bitcoin ETF approved most likely. Then we're going to go into the Bitcoin halving. Then you're going to see a parabolic move. Now, here's my thought process on the exit strategy. So my goal is to get my money out of funny money, out of fake money, into real tangible assets. And so that's something that I built over the past 4 to 5 years. It's radically transformed my life, where now I feel very secure. So now if my crypto goes to zero, and some people have experienced that, like exchanges going to zero, things like that, we don't even flinch anymore because we have so much built with, whether it's business, insurance, precious metals, you got real estate. I'm going into real estate next year. So what we hope to encourage you guys is, with your exit plan, you now have opportunity cost of money, right? So you can do a couple things. You can secure it in insurance, in real estate, into businesses, things like that, or you can go back into the market. So what is an exit plan for me is called a ladder exit plan. So I'm holding 50% of my portfolio long-term. I'm not touching it, legacy money, right? And when it continues to be normalized, I'll probably borrow against those assets to buy more assets. Not now, because I learned that you don't want to borrow against a very speculative asset like crypto, especially in a bull or bear market or bull market, excuse me. So basically what it looks like is 50% of my portfolio will be sold on the way up, right? So what a ladder exit strategy is for example, 50, let's pretend the 50% is 100%. So at XRP goes from 50 cents to its all-time high of 3.73 or whatever, $3.73. I would sell my first 5%. Just giving you guys an example. And then the next time it goes up, say it goes to $5, which I'm not saying that's where it's going to go. But if it did, I would exit 15%, right? Then you're going all the way up to certain price targets. Then I have the funny one of 589. If it did, that'd be fantastic. People always say that. So that's like my stretch kind of pie in the sky goal. Now, as it goes up, what I'm doing is I'm pulling that out of the markets, obviously paying my taxes. And as I get more advanced in my knowledge of trust and all that stuff, I'll go down that path. But that's what an exit plan is, family. When people are coming in and they're talking about the grocery store, you should be getting some out of the markets. When everybody's panicking, so it's happening. I'm doing a video on it tomorrow. Like FTX is now in the news back again. He's on trial. There's the guy from Singapore that's being charged. They got arrested. I can't remember his name. Sorry, just slipped my mind. Dokwon? Is that Dokwon? No. Okay, we lost your audio. I
think it was Dokwon, the guy from Luna, right?
Yeah, I think so. So what's happening now is imagine you're my parents sitting there watching the evening news, and Dokwon gets arrested for crypto. Now FTX is back in the news. All FUD, get the hell out of crypto, panic sell, right? So that's when we want to buy. So I just wanted to share with you guys, that's what an exit plan is. And Merlin allows you to see all your cryptos in one space. We don't hold your keys or combos. It's just I like the way you say it. It's like a television. It's like a screen, a screen display. To see everything. Display, yep. And then what you do is you set your exit targets. Now, share with me like what your exit plan looks like, or how do you explain an exit plan?
Yeah, so the way I explain it is I love this Wall Street cheat sheet chart. This thing is the best thing ever because it really shows you the behavior of a coin. And if you look at a lot of cryptos, this is exactly what they do, Coach. And you talk about this all the time. They start to go up and you get into this euphoric period of time, and then they come crashing down on the backside. And what we all learned was if you're not getting out on the way up, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to do what we all did the first time. We're going to watch it go up, and then we're going to watch it come back down, because when it comes down, it goes back up again. And you're like, oh, okay. It was just a natural, cleansing of some of the people taking profits, and we're going to keep going up. And that's what the psychological brain makes you think. And then what happens? The elites know there's nobody left to come in and buy, and this thing's going to crash. But the smart money, Coach, has already gotten up at this peak period, right? And now it's just left with all what they call the bag holders. So what we're trying to do with Merlin is we don't want you to be a bag holder. We don't want to be bag holders, and we don't want you to be a bag holder. And how do you avoid that? It's what you said, Coach. You have to ladder out on the way up. And the hardest part of doing that is, let's say I bought in somewhere around here. I don't know, let's say $1. And then I sell out around here around $2. And this goes to $3. You know what happens psychologically? You get mad at yourself. You start kicking yourself. You start saying, oh my God, I left money on the table. And you're really, and that's the problem of why most people won't sell, because they think it's still going higher. Yes. And in some cases, it does continue to go higher. But one thing's for sure, it can't keep going up forever, Coach. There is going to be a certain point in time where it's going to come back down. And I'm going to give you a perfect short story example. Cardano. When Cardano hit our exit targets, first one, I don't know, it's around maybe $1.45 or $2, somewhere around there. And I remember you saying it hit it. And I went and checked it. I'm like, oh, I had a similar target, so it had hit mine too. And I said, okay, you know what? I need to go sell. And I went in and I put the order in, and I couldn't hit the damn sell button. I mentally was blocked. I didn't want to sell because my heart kept saying it's going to keep going up. My brain was, it's going to go up. Don't sell. And then I'll never forget the words you said. You said you had a similar hard time, but then you said to yourself, you said, you know what? I made a damn exit plan. I'm going to stick to it, and I'm selling. And I said, and those words resonated in my head. They were back there You pre-programmed me. Thank you for subliminally programming me. I appreciate that. And I said, I'm selling too. And I hit the sell button and I was so happy. And I texted all you guys like a little kid. Oh my God, I sold. Not that anybody cared. But for me, it was an accomplishment because it was so hard to go against my brain.
Yep.
And that's when I started learning, thanks to you in the academy, you have to train yourself to do the opposite of what you think. It's so hard to do. Now, let me finish the story. So I sold around $1.45, $2. And I think Cardano went to 3. And I was probably like, yeah, hi, David. How you doing, buddy? And I was kind of like a little upset that I saw. And you know what? 6 months later, or where we are, Cardano's at 25 cents. So ask me today if I have any regrets of selling. No, I'm so glad I stuck to my exit strategy because at the end of the day, it worked. I laddered on the way up, like you said, and now we came crashing back down. And now I can take those profits if I want, and I could reallocate them, and I could buy back any crypto at this point, all 90% pullback that I want with that profit I made at the higher level. And so that's the benefit of an exit strategy, and why, people say, "Well, I need one." People are like, "Oh, well, I can burn on paper." Yeah, do something. But the advantage of having something in an app that's ready at your fingertips is, man, what we built in Merlin was you now get that alert too. So you don't no longer have to be like you, where you're sitting in the gym and you're pulling out a piece of paper. Did my targets hit? No. We make your life simple. Yes. You just set it and forget it, and you'll get an alert when it's time to sell.
Yeah, it's the greed gene, right? So they call it the greed gene. Like, it just seems like you have to really. So what we're working to do is with the thousands of hours of content, Good Morning Crypto, our stuff, all of our TikToks, all that stuff. We're really trying to train people's brains. I don't want to say indoctrinate, but I guess it would be indoctrination of trying to get you to do the opposite. Because think about it, 1% of the population owns 97% of wealth for a reason. They don't do our finances like we do, guys. They do it very different. And so we figured out the game on how they do it, right? And so they are not doing the same thing. So I think about this as like a company it brings in institutional investors. So when think about it, if a Bitcoin ETF is coming in, most likely, right? What you're doing is you're accumulating right now, right? Your MicroStrategies, I'm not saying the MicroStrategies is buying, right? BlackRock is buying more MicroStrategies. They're accumulating because their job is to make their clients money, right? And so when this thing goes, they know when the Bitcoin halving happens, it's going to go parabolic, and they're going to make their clients a shitload of money. They're going to be selling you their crypto because their clients they would love to have a 30-40% return, right? They're used to these, maybe a 3-4%. If the stock market goes down 6%, it's catastrophic, right? In crypto, it can go up 30, it can go down 40, it can go up 80, it can go down some 300%. So imagine a world how much money they're going to make their clients, right? And these institutional investors, they're just like, hey, listen, your job, you give it to an asset manager, they go out there and make this money for their clients, which I think is very important. So we have to follow these waves of emotion, and you have to rewire your brain because everything's inverted. Those are the teachings spiritually that I'm going through at a very deep level, that everything is inverted. And it's changed my life, guys. Like the way I do my spirituality, the way I do my finances, the way I do everything inverted. Everything's backwards, right? Everything that we do is so anything you see, right, is meant for you, not against you. But what do we think? We think that everything we see that's negative is against us, right? So when you start to invert everything, so when you see the public running towards something with excitement, you have to ask yourself, who got them to run that way? All you have to do is watch the media. Who got them to run that way? And then you run the opposite way, right? And you do the opposite of them, and you feel them running from the fire. It's like, you might want to go see who's starting that fire, right? And follow who started the fire and start doing that. Like, again, like the gold rush, right? Who made the most money? The people who sold the shovels.
Yeah, that's right.
The gentleman who sold the shovels. I'm sorry. Everybody was going after the gold. So basically you guys are I would say like Ripple, the IPO, or XRP or XLM, I think we're all in the same ISO tokens. And, those to me are the shovels, right? And so as you're not trying to get rich quick, the Dogecoins and the Shibas, and who knows what they're going to do. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to shitcoins, but my point is there is no get rich quick, right? So the way I look at things when I invest is shovels. Like Ripple is a shovel to me. They are supplying the shovels, the infrastructure, the rails, right? And then there's other cryptos that are trying to get rich quick. And so what are your thoughts? I want to talk a little bit about microeconomics in regards to like, where do you think with like regulate? Like, for example, we got G20 accepted the BIS global recommendations for crypto. BIS made commitments to have global recommendations locked in by the end of 2023. What do you think is going to happen? Like the Bitcoin halving, the Bitcoin ETF. Like, what is your thought process? I want to hear your thought process on the market cycle and what you think it's going to do.
Yeah, so great question. First of all, Basel 3 went into effect. I believe it was yesterday. They started to kick that thing off, so that everybody knows about that, and the bank's buying all the gold. But in terms of where I think we're headed for crypto, a couple things. So we all know that there's a halving coming next year, and it'll be somewhere in the March, April, May timeframe. Exactly, nobody knows the exact time, but it's going to be somewhere around that time, Coach. I personally think, based on the way the elites or the people pulling the strings like to run, is they usually want to pile a lot of good news on top of good news, because what does that do? That does this chart that I just showed you. That drives up all of the prices to get them to maximum value. Remember, like Yosko said when we had him on the show, if a hedge fund wants to buy something, they're not going to come out and tell you they want to buy it.
Of course not. Yeah.
They're going to come out and tell you it's bad. They're going to shake some trees. They're going to short it. They're going to have their friends in the news write a bad article about it, drop the price down, and they're going to buy it for cheap. And that's what we see happening right now with the crypto industry. Now, once they're fully in, what are they going to do? They're going to do the opposite. Now they're going to tell all their friends. They're going to have their buddies write great articles about this and how this is great. You're going to know all this good news. Yep. So what I think is going to happen is, I personally think the BTC ETF will be one of the most important or largest liquidity events for the crypto market, because the only way the price can move up, we're a 1 trillion market today. The only way the price can move up is more money has to come in. It's a simple supply and demand equation. More money drives something up, less money drives something down. Well, right now we're sitting at 1 trillion. So where's the money going to come from? Well, a couple things. You need the Fed. The last one, what happened was the Fed turned on the printing presses, printed $2 trillion worth of money. I don't think that's going to happen this time around. I think the Fed has the printing presses turned off, or rates are too high. I don't see it. So then you ask yourself, well, where the hell the money's going to come from? Well, another very likely possible liquidity event would be a Bitcoin ETF. Why? Well, because once we get that, and if the SEC approves it, there have been many, many companies, large institutions, that said that they would put 1, 2, or up to 3 points, and that means 3% of their holdings into Bitcoin. Now that 1, 2, or 3 points all added up together amongst all these institutions is multi-billions, even up to trillions of dollars of money that will flood into this space. And what's that going to do, Coach? Well, if you got money coming in and you have a limited supply, Bitcoin only has 21 million coins, what do you think the price is going to do?
Yes, I love what you're saying. It's so funny. My video tomorrow, I have a video from Ray Dalio he's talking about, they're like, where should people go? They said gold, Basel 3, where the rules changed, where they had it actually activated, right? And then obviously I'm talking about the Bitcoin, of the holdings of Bitcoin. Like, think about it, guys. They're moving to hard assets. Like, I think they're considering Bitcoin like a form of gold in a store. Like a store of value, right? So it's like they are running to these stores of value because the system is broken, right? So then they get into the stores of value, and then they let the system collapse, and they have all their stuff locked in. And then when it comes back, right, we'll move into this new system, which will be liquidity, moving velocity. I think I explained velocity of money incorrectly, but the money will be moving very quickly, very fast, right? It'll lower all the borders and make an even playing field around the monetary system. And then there'll be like a billionaire will be a trillionaire, a millionaire will be a billionaire, and a thousandaire will be a millionaire. Like, it's just going to transition. Money is quantum now. It's not even going to be almost computable in so many aspects, right? And so I think the biggest thing too is like understanding like where are people going with their assets right now. And it's like, that's why I'm big on insurance, precious metals, I'm getting into the real estate game like you next year, the apartment complexes and things like that. And that's why exit plan, and let me dive into that and then we'll go to this question, is that it's really important, family, that you have diversification outside. Like, Johnny's diversified out of crypto. I'm diversified out of crypto. Jeremy's diversified out of crypto. I think our whole team is diversified out of crypto. And crypto is a very speculative asset right now that you can make a large amount of money in a short amount of time. Not get rich quick, so I don't want to get people in that behavior, but please get out of the mentality of, like, for example, I'll be transparent. I love fast cars. I love supercars. I sold my Corvette, and I'm like, I love supercars. I love fast cars. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I just don't, like, I will get a Lambo someday. And right. But Very important. I have to have a certain, my CFO, Jeremy, I have to have a certain net worth in order to buy my Lambo. Like I have to be at a certain net worth to make it viable to buy that, right? I'm not going to go buy a Lambo if I'm making $1 million. It's if I make $11.5 million in net worth like clear, then I can buy a Lambo. So you have to set these targets there, right? And or I'll have somebody pay for my Lambo like a renter, right? So things like that. So it's very important that we switch our mindset. That's what I want to help with people. The exit plan is the first step. It's like, okay, running it like a smart investor. You're not just walking into a bank and giving some guy in a suit your money and saying, hey, hopefully I retire, and he never checks your portfolio again, doesn't give a shit if you retire or not. No offense to financial advisors, but there's good ones out there. But many of them at the bank, once they get your money in there, they get their commission. They don't ever look at your portfolio ever again. And then or you go to your HR director, and your HR director helps you set up your 401k plan. And it's like, that's not retirement, guys. That's not how you retire. So first thing is like that. What I love about Merlin, the exit plan, it teaches you how to take sovereignty of your wealth. So even if you have a $5,000 crypto portfolio, good job. If you have a $300, but imagine bringing it into Merlin and taking a look and saying, I can now see my wealth. Number one. Number two is I'm making a conscious effort to create my own plan for my own wealth. So whether you have $300 or $3 million, what you're doing is you're taking a step forward towards sovereignty of your own wealth. And that's what we've been trying to teach in the Warrior Academy family. It's so important to take sovereignty of your mind, your health, and your wealth, right? There's nothing wrong with financial advisors, but there is something wrong with not knowing the hell where your money's going. That's not a good thing, right? So I just wanted to bring that up because I think it's important to go a little bit deeper on the understanding that Merlin is it's like almost a gateway into this new way of doing your finances and understanding like, yeah, you can watch your investments go up and go down and go up and go down and go up and go down. But our job, like Richest Man in Babylon, is to multiply this money. And this gives you a tool to be able to exit properly. And again, please write down greed gene. Greed gene. We're all going to get it. When this shit goes parabolic, when institutions come in, when you see, maybe you have a $10,000 portfolio and all of a sudden it's 6 figures. You're going to think that you're going to be like, oh, it's going to keep getting bigger. It's going to keep getting bigger. You just made 6 figures in 60 days. That takes people 10, 20 years in their 401k to get there, right? Some of you will make $1 million. Oh, it's going to go to 3. It's not. It's not. Pull $500,000, buy a cash generating asset, lock it in some insurance, buy a business, right? So we have to secure ourselves because think about it, you're making retirement type money that people make 30 to 40 years of their whole life to get $1 million. And you could make it in 12 months to 24. So you have to get out of that Lambo, big mansion mentality, right? And also that goes into frequency, and I'm going back to the event, but just having breakfast with you guys, after that event, that was wealth to me, man. Like sitting with my friends, building businesses with my friends, breaking bread with my friends, seeing this bleed into generation to generation, and just having a great time, man. That's what it's all about. So there's a question here. It says, who is Vesgo, the company Merlin goes through, and how safe and secure is that company with bag info?
That's a great question, Coach. And, you said so much there I want to unpack some of that, but I do want to answer this question because we get this question all the time. People are very worried about, and rightfully so, their keys and their coins and their crypto. And they all should be. You absolutely should be. And yes, Becky, I love this idea. Hit the damn button. We're going to need that, Coach. We're going to need one of those. That is a great idea. One thing I do want to invent is a sell half button because I know I would have sold half if I had it. But nonetheless, Vesgo is the third-party partnership that we use that connects or gets the data, if you will, from the exchanges into Merlin. And so they manage all of what we call the API connections. So Vesgo uses a highly, highly encrypted 32 AES encryption, similar to bank type cryptology. So it is extremely highly protective from a security perspective. That's number one. Number two, they don't have your keys or your coins. We don't ever. The nice thing about Merlin is we don't need your keys or your coins. I'm sorry, your keys to display your coins. All we need is access to your exchange, which is called an API. And this allows us, these API keys allow us to connect to your exchange to display, to read only access, to read what you have and to be able to show it to you. And so if you've got your coins on 3 different places, it's basically us just knocking on the door and saying, hey, Coach JV wants us to show him the coins you have on your exchange for him. And
Mhm.
so they just say, oh, okay, coach says it's okay. Yeah, coach says it's okay. That's what an API key. I'm trying to break it down to simple analogies.
Yep.
So we knock on Kraken and we say, hey, coach told us it's okay. Here's his API key. Here's his letter, his permission letter. That's really what that is. And then Kraken says, oh, okay, you got a permission note from him? Great. Here's his data, and you can see the coins. We can't buy your coins. We can't sell your coins. We can't move your coins. We can't do any of that. All we can do is just say, oh, this is what you have. Hey, coach, here you go. And Merlin, we're going to show you Kraken. Oh, you also want us to show you Crypto.com? You also want us to show you Binance? No problem. And we put them all in one place. So now you can clearly see in one spot what your coins are doing. And because we can pull in your transactions, we can calculate your average price. Most people don't know their average price. So as long as you bought the coins on that exchange and you didn't move them, we can pull it in, we can calculate your average price, and now you can actually see how many coins you have, what your average price is, and based on the price today, we can actually see what your gain is. And as prices start to go up or down, you're going to really be able to see, what's happening. And then you can create your exit strategy so you can go in and sell. So Vesgo just provides that handshake between us and the exchange to be able to display your coins. And we do not have your seed phrase. We don't know your 12-word seed phrase. We don't know your 24-word seed phrase. We don't want that information, Coach. Merlin does not want that. We don't want to be responsible for it. And I wouldn't even, to be honest with you, we wouldn't even got in this business if we had to manage those keys. That's too risky. We have no interest in that. So I want everybody to know out there, that's why we say your coins are safe on Merlin, because they're really not on Merlin. We're just displaying them. Your coins are really at the exchange. You have to trust your exchange, or you have to trust your ledger or your wallet where you put them, because that's where your keys are. We don't have access to that. We just display it through Vesgo.
Great question, by the way. It says, my thing is, if my profit is my profit worth taking? I set up some exits, but I'm at 20 or 15. I might as well hodl for 20, 25. So let's still learn the game. It's a very fair question. So like, why would you set up an exit strategy, right? So anytime, for example, this is a good way to look at it. And maybe Johnny, you can pop on this afterwards. So like if I went to the casino, if I was a gambling man and I went to Vegas and I threw down $1,000 and I ended up hitting $2,000, immediately the first rule is to get your money off the table and run on house money, right? So all my crypto is pretty much house money, except my dollar cost averaging coming in now. So most of my main crypto that I came in when we hit the bull run, I pulled out my main invested in other things, right? So that's the number one rule. Number two is, I don't bank on things that I think are going to happen. I bank on what is actually happening. So for example, I'm not going to, do I think you're right? 2025, 2026, going to 2030, there's going to be definitely some adoption. Yeah. I think there may be some normalization in between 26 and 30, where it becomes more everything's tokenized, it becomes more and more normal, like the stock market. Depends on how much institutional adoption we have. So what I would do, I'm not saying this will work for you, but what I do is I play my game in the present moment. So I set up my exit plan and I go based on my exit targets on what would be viable for my investment strategy and what I want for my future, right? So I'm okay with, like Johnny said, so because you really can't predict it. A great example is everybody said Bitcoin was going to 100,000 and everybody got punked. It stopped at like 68,000 and came collapsing down. And that goes into Johnny's explanation of institutions. Like they play with our emotions, right? Everybody's like, oh, it's going big, it's going big, it's going big. And it got stuck, right? And it came collapsing back down. And so this is a very fair question. So I think number one rule is always to get your house money out, right? Take your house money, secure it somewhere. You can either buy back in or put it in, whatever you want to do with that. Number two is always have an exit plan. Anytime you invest in anything, you should have an exit plan. Okay. So for me, like mine is I have my exit targets all set on all my cryptocurrencies. My thing that I don't touch is my insurance, right? That's my insurance I have an insurance plan, my retirement plan that never gets touched. That's my retirement plan. That won't get touched. And then if I want to leverage, I have a leverage insurance plan where I leverage against assets, right? So I just want to hopefully that teaches you the game a little bit, but you should always have some sort of exit plan, or you're just going to watch your profits go up. You're going to watch them go down, watch them go up, watch them go down, right? Read the book. don't have a green screen on, but my back there behind me, you can see it in my left ear. It's Intelligent Investor. It's a book by Benjamin Graham, which is probably one of the first books I would read. It's Warren Buffett read that book at 12 years old, I think it was. He was investing in the stock market, and then he started investing in companies, right? And so they basically exit based on what they think is going to happen. They all have exit plans for everything, right? So Warren Buffett's he's not emotional. He's not emotionally tied to these. He's like, hey, listen, I'm just going to, because the markets are emotional, and buying companies, intrinsic value companies, is more strategic. It's like, okay, they have exit plans. That's why Warren Buffett closed out a lot of his bank stocks in 2020 and went into a lot of foreign stocks, right? Because they knew, and he increased his position in Bank of America, right? He had an exit plan. He's like, something's going on, I'm getting out, right? And he might have been wrong. Who knows? Maybe he was right with the banks. He was pretty smart dude, right? So does that help, Johnny, or does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, it certainly does, Coach. And I think building on what you said, like this man here, where he talks about, I only have exits at 20 and 15. The reality is, it may take a very long time to get to that 20 or 15, and you may miss out on opportunities to take profits along the way. Perfect example, I bought Amazon in 1997 for $17, and it went up to 27. So I made $10 profit. That's very reasonable. That's a nice profit. And like an idiot, though, I sold it all because I didn't have an exit plan. Well, I had an exit plan, but I didn't have the foresight to hold long term. The difference here with Merlin is what we're saying is it's okay to take some profit along the way up. Just make sure you have some portion of your bags that you take with you. So for Dynamite here, if you've got a price at 15 or 20, again, I'm not a financial advisor, this is not financial advice, but if you got price targets at 15 and 20, that's great. And you can have a good chunk there, but you may consider some along the way up at 3 and 5 and 7 and take a little bit, because what happens is it's not going from $1 to 20, Coach. It's going to go to 1. It's going to go from 1 to 5. That's going to come back down to 3. Yep. It's going to go up to 7. That's going to come down to 4. And let's go up to 10, right? It's going to have a zigzag all the way up, and that may take 5, 10, 15 years. And so you miss out on all those opportunities to double down and kind of recapture profits along the way on that journey on the way up. If you just set it. Now you can. Some people can just say, hey, you know what? I'm not touching it. I'm going to set it and forget it, and I'll touch it 5 years from now. And that's totally fine too. But you're probably going to miss out on, like, think, for example, if we had exit plans on Bitcoin on the way up, we could have got out at 30, 40, and 50. And now we're at 20. We could have been buying Bitcoin back at 20. And now when it goes to 100, we could have quadrupled our money. That's how the smart money plays the game. Mm-hmm. And the beautiful thing about Merlin is, like we told you, this game is rigged against you. This is based off your emotion. What Merlin is going to do, Coach, is going to take the emotion out of the game. Because ahead of time, before all this thing pumps, right now, this is the time where people should be buying, DCAing in, and making exit strategies using Fibonacci tools. Or go watch Andrew, join the Academy, check out Andrew Cashflow's Cashflow course on how to create exit strategies. Make your exit plan now while you're not emotional, while the stock, while the prices aren't pumping, so that when they start to pump and you get emotional, Merlin has already helped you. We've taken out the one weapon that's used against you, your emotion, because your target, you set it when you were not emotional. You set it ahead of time before this game took off. You're going to get an alert when it's time to sell. And all you have to do is be disciplined enough to execute your sell. And you've won the game because you're taking emotions out of it. Yes,
that's it. That's it. I love it. And that's the whole thing about this. And again, hit that button, family, hit the button. It doesn't matter if you're your gym bro or the girl, your friend at the nail salon is like, oh girl, it's going to go to this. Or, your gym buddy's like, oh man, I heard from this. If they say I heard from somebody, get the hell out, man. Because the person they heard from doesn't have the insight, trust me. And then if any influencer is out there saying, oh, I got insight, like, come on, man. Like, I came from the banking system. I don't have insight. I mean, I got some insight, but nothing like, a lot of people say that stuff for clout, man. They do. They say that to make people think, to get clicks. And, it's like, none of us know what the 1% are doing at a very deep level. We don't know what moves they're making. We can predict future by studying history, though. You can absolutely predict money flows in the future. That's why I love Ray Dalio. That's on the video I'm going to be playing tomorrow, and it goes into Basel 3 and gold. He goes into gold, and I'm going to talk about Basel 3 and the Bitcoin percentages, because it's like it's so easy. It just seems so tangible to me because you just go deep in history And it's Roman days right now. It's like it's the same timeline of Jesus. He was flipping over the money changers. It was like it's a cyclic pattern. And what happens is a greed jinx kicks in, Mother Earth cycles itself back, and then there's an age of Aquarius coming, which is peace and prosperity. You guys, and just so you know, I've been saying this to a lot of people that I'm coaching or talking to. I'm like, what if you knew, and many people here believe in God, and if you don't, it's okay. But I always say to people, and everybody seems to agree when I'm speaking about it, I say, in the books that I read, we win in the end, right? So if we win in the end, if you can conquer the devil, if you win in the end, which the devil is the prince of the earth, we always win. We win in the end because we ascend back up. And if you win in the end, then how would you act today? And I ask, and people are like, oh, peaceful, calm. I'm like, okay, well, we win in the end. So act as if you win in the end. And that's the key to mastery in life. So what Merlin does is it takes that worldly, emotional stuff out of it. And you're not living in the game. You're not living in the matrix. You remove yourself from the matrix, or you're creating your own matrix. There's really no matrix to escape. You came from the womb, the matrix, but you're in the matrix. You're creating your own. You're creating one that's not emotional, that is very poised. And then you become an intelligent investor. And when you start doing that, you can do that with anything in your life. You create a business, you create an exit plan. Right? The only thing you don't want to do is with your relationships. Don't create an exit plan for your relationships. Stick it up. Okay. Let's see. It is. I want to make sure I'm very clear with that. Is it a good? I'm not very good at reading this, dyslexia. It is good to have a purpose. Can you read that for me? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Is it good to have a purpose for each exit target? For example, when it hits X, I will sell X amount of XRP and do this thing with it, or keep it general.
Oh, yeah, I have, mine's very specific. So I'm super specific on mine is, and I'll just share with you my plan. So I'm exiting, and plus as I gain new knowledge, I will teach what I'm doing. I only teach what I'm doing. So for example, my next phase of my wealth building is I'm now going into trust meetings. So I'm going to be setting, so I don't have education around this. I'm going into this is my next phase. So for me, when I exit, I'm going into insurance, real estate. I'm going to be using insurance to leverage for real estate, more precious metals, and then I'll probably be buying equity in more companies or buying more positions in companies. And my goal is to create more cash generating, to increase my earned income every single quarter of every single quarter of every single year I'm left on earth. And with the increased income, I will continue to buy more cash generating assets. So I'm going to exit, I'm going to secure an insurance, and it's very important to how you allocate these policies. So be very careful with whatever agent you deal with, right? So make sure it's very important how they fund these. Insurance can be very expensive if the person doesn't do it correctly, right? So you have to have a plan for your money. The reason why is because it's fake money, it's fiat. There's no value to this money. It's shit. Like if you're holding $100,000 and you put it in the bank, they're leveraging it, they're indexing it, and they're putting it in the capital, and they're lending it to the next person walking in. So if you're sitting on $100,000 in profit, you don't want to go buy a Lambo, right? You want to make sure that money gets to work. So always think about your money working. Like, what is that? For me, insurance feels very safe. Like I already feel safe about my future, which helps me relax. So if crypto collapsed, I'm good. I'm totally good. So that way I can hit the button. Like I'll hit the button like, okay, so you could have made another million. Okay, I made 2 million. Big deal, right? And then because I know how to take that 2 million and multiply that into 4. When the other person makes 4 and then they lose all of it, right? So we have to train. That's why 85% of lottery winners go broke, go bankrupt, and then pro athletes often lose all their money, is because if you don't rewire the foundation, you're always going to end up in the same situation. It's a fact. So our CFO always says to our gen shifters, he said, if you make $100,000 and you have bad spending habits now, XRP going to 589 isn't going to change shit. So if you all of a sudden have $1 billion in your account, you're going to have $1 billion worth of problems. You have to change the foundation. So great question. I always have a plan for every amount. So I get dividends on Tuesdays and Fridays in my bank account from the stuff that I own and stuff. And every Wednesday and Friday, I start to make decisions like, where is this money going? It's burning a hole in my pocket. If cash is sitting in my bank account, it's burning a hole in my pocket. Sometimes I put it into things like, that's why I like crypto, because it's liquid. So if I can throw it into crypto, knowing that if I lose it, that's fine. So, throwing a chunk into Ethereum. If I'm gonna, an example, I'll give an example. Remember the tattoo? I was gonna do the sleeve tattoo, and it was gonna be like 15 grand. And I was like, it was a decision. These are decisions that I want to share with you guys because storytelling is important. So I'm gonna get a sleeve tattoo, and so I was gonna go get a sleeve tattoo, and it was 15 grand for this tattoo. And so I sat there, and I'm like, I was about to take 15 grand out of my bank account to do this tattoo, and I thought, wait a minute. if I put this 15 grand into cryptocurrency, this could be a $300,000 tattoo. And I was like, could you imagine every day looking at my arm going and be like, damn, dude, that's a 300,000. So what I did was I put it back into crypto, and I've been sitting on it for a while. It's been over a year, right? So other people not being patient would be like, oh shit. So that 15K can end up being 100K. And then I will take from that pot to go get my tattoo. So now I used other people's money to buy the thing. So that's how, and then business is really cool too. If you guys are entrepreneurs with business, you can, you have your company cars, you can drive a car that's paid for by the business. Johnny's an expert in real estate. I'm going into real estate next year because I need tax liabilities. So I think it's important too, if you're not part of our Warrior Academy, get in there, because these type of conversations happen all the time. But that's what we hope to do, is to provide financial education, because you see a lot of it. The great example that I love to use for Merlin is the Dogecoin millionaire. And I'm not clowning him. He put this on his Twitter. He was at 3.5. You remember that Twitter I shared with you guys? $3.5 million in Dogecoin. Yep. He watched it. He didn't have an exit plan. It went all the way down to $50,000.
Yep.
Could you imagine $3.5 million if he put that into an insurance policy? He looked like a pretty young dude in his early 30s.
Oh, if
he put that into an insurance policy, he would retire with probably 15 million and be sitting on a beach in Mexico. But he just sat on that shit. No exit plan, no strategy, nothing. So you should always have a plan for your money. And that's biblical too. It's like the person who buried their money in the sand, they got no reward, right? And the person who multiplied it got reward. You should always be multiplying your money.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, and there were going to be a lot of people in this next bull run that if they don't get something like Merlin or join the academy and learn, there's going to be a lot more of those Doge millionaires, slumlords, that happen there. So hopefully people, we're trying to educate people now, Coach, and get it out there. And, and good news for you too. There was a guy out there that he bought, I forgot how many Bitcoin he used to buy 2 pizzas back like 10 years ago.
Yes.
Right? You don't want to be that story, Coach. I'm glad you didn't put that tattoo on, because I've been talking about, that's a $300 million.
Do you want to hear a cool story about that? When we were at the Link 2 event, man, there was a gentleman I talked to, and hopefully he's watching this. It was so cool. He just shared the coolest story. So he was playing poker with his buddies, when was Bitcoin like in the hundreds? In 2017 or somewhere on there?
Yeah, well, maybe even earlier than that, Coach.
So they were playing poker with his buddies. One of their buddies was really into Bitcoin, and they were kind of, and I'm kind of embellishing the story a little bit, but they're playing poker, and his buddy was like, he's like, hey, dude, just give me. He won the pot. It was $500. He said, hey, pay me in Bitcoin. He's like, the guy's like, okay, no problem, because it wasn't that big of a deal back then.
Right.
That $500 he got, he's still sitting on it today. It's $300,000.
There you go.
Like, so he's holding it. He's like, dude, I'm waiting for this next. I mean, that 300,000. I wonder how much. What would that be? How many Bitcoin? 5? All right. 8,
10, about 12, something like that. About
12?
13. 14.
I mean, that's a $1 million poker game right there. And this guy's smart. He's just holding it. He's holding it. And then we talked to, he was at the Link 2 event. I'm like, you could leverage that. You could do so much with that.
Yes.
I mean, so that was a smart, and it's cool because he has really good wise counsel. They seem like really good friends, and we were talking about exit strategy. We're talking about, he saw one of his things go from $2 to $32. And he was like, it's going to keep going up. And then he watched it go down to 19 and then boom, right back down below the $2. Yes. And he was like, that was one of his biggest lessons. I can't remember which crypto it was or what investment it was. And he was like, man, it broke my heart. He goes, I remember going up to my wife and it's like, babe, we just made 200 grand in one day. And there was a greed gene. They were like, oh, it's going to keep going up. And he said, as soon as it went up, that shit went down below what they had before. And he was like, that was his lesson. And it changed their whole life, man.
Let me tell you a really short story, because I know we're running out of time, and why I think Merlin can help save lives, help people. And the reason why I think it's beneficial. This happened to me. I was in Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop, and I get a text from Mario, and it says, hey, Johnny, have you seen the price of mana? So I go check the price of mana, Coach, and it's at $5. It's pumping like crazy, right? I'm in the store. I said to my cousin Mike, I said, hold on a second. I got to do something. I stop. I go into my Kraken account, and I sold my mana right there on the spot, right? By the time I got home, Coach, 40 minutes later, 30 to 40 minutes, I've told this story before. People have heard it. Within 30 to 40 minutes, the price of mana went from $5 all the way down to $3. And by the end of the night, it was down to like $1 or $2. So had Mario not been my Merlin in that particular example, had he not sent me that text message, i.e. alert, I would have completely missed the entire pump of mana And by the time I got home, I would have sold it for maybe 1x instead of 5x. So the reality is what we've done with Merlin is engineer. Exactly. Merlin's engineered the birth of the King Arthur, and it can your future. Mario was my Merlin that day. He sent me that alert. I saw it, and that's what Merlin's going to do for everybody going forward. Sign up on the link below. Get a free 30-day trial. Create your exit strategy, guys, because you may be shopping, you may be at a park, you may be Disneyland, you may be in the movies, and you get that alert, right? You're not going to be looking at your phone every 2 minutes, because we were, and it's crazy. You don't have to do that no more. Now you'll get the alert, and oh, it just hit my price target. In fact, we did something else. We know the market moves fast. What we did with Merlin? We built it so you get a pre-alert, Coach. So when we get within 5 to 10% of your target, we're going to send you an early warning notice, like, hey, get ready to sell. Your alert, your target's getting close. And then when it hits your target, you get a second alert that says, okay, time to sell, go sell. And that's when you got to be disciplined and you go sell. And to me, I really feel that Merlin, this is where Merlin can improve lives, save people, create generational wealth for people that otherwise would have done exactly what we all did in the prior bull one, was watch it go all the way up and watch it come all the way back down. There's no excuse for that to happen anymore. With Merlin, you're going to be in good hands.
That was perfect. Yeah, you just explained Yvette's question. Merlin is a crypto tracker, and it also helps you set exit plans so you do not get wrecked in crypto. It's the smartest way to track your crypto. Again, we don't hold your keys or combos. It's just a, what do you call it, an interface? So how do you call it? How do you say it?
Yeah, it's just an API interface, and we just basically connect to the exchanges so we can show you what you have all in one place.
Yeah, let's see a question here. Do you have to have them on platforms? Because I have on wallets. Great question. Can you put your wallets on there?
Yeah, so we have certain wallets. So we have right now a Ledger wallet you can connect, Exodus, Trust, MetaMask, and I don't know why an Atomic. So we've got those 5, and we're going to be adding the Zoom wallet. Surely, Gonzo had a great story here when we first got the Merlin going. Solana had pumped, and he had we have also notifications in Merlin. You can turn them on, and what it does is it tells you any coin you have. If you turn a notification on, it'll tell you when we have Uphold too. It'll tell you when your coins are going up. So he got a notification saying, hey, the market's moving, and it showed him like you're up, your Solana is moving up, and he went and sold it. But we have all the main popular exchanges. We have Binance, we have Coinbase, we have Kraken, we got BitTrue, we've got Uphold, Gemini, and we're also adding shortly. We're right now working on adding a CSV importer for crypto.com. So that will be coming as well. So guys, I encourage you all to, I can't say get on the wait list and work. I'm so happy I don't have it. It's open. Click on the link below. You can sign up right now today to start your free 30-day trial. Yes, you have to put in a credit card, but guys, we did one thing special. Coach, I hate whenever I get an app or I get something and I don't know how to cancel. I hate when I have to get on the phone or call India or speak to someone that doesn't speak English and I have no idea how to cancel. We made it so easy. All people need to do is after your within 3 days that your trial is going to expire, we send you an email that says, hey, your trial is going to expire soon. And if you want to cancel, you just go into your settings and profile page on the plan page, and you can simply hit the cancel button. We made it that easy. No risk offer.
Yeah. I love that. I think we addressed this, but it says, but you are not exposed to hacks. Correct. Like we don't, it's just the interface. We don't hold
This is beautiful. The reason why we're not exposed to hacks, guys, we're not a wallet. See, everybody thinks we're a wallet. We're not. We don't have your coins. And we're just a TV screen. So the worst case, if Merlin was ever able to get hacked, all right, so people could see what you have. Guess what? People can see what you have today because people can see public wallets anyway. So if anybody had your address, they can see it. So there is no risk. Worst case scenario, if we were ever, and we have strong encryption as well. But no, they can't steal your coins. They can't move your coins. They can't sell your coin. Can't do anything. We have zero access. All we are is a read-only platform. And I'm gonna highlight what Gonzo says here. We are read-only, guys. We just show you what's happening. That's it. We are also Zoom, I want to say, is also on our roadmap to add that one as well. So we'll just continually over time to add more and more. exchanges. So guys, if you're out there and you're using Merlin and you want a wallet that we don't have, send us an email. You can just click on the chat form. There's a feedback form. Tell us what exchanges you want to add. We'll get it on a roadmap, and we're going to work to improve Merlin every single day.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Johnny. I know today is the day. This is fully live. So October 2nd, 2023, history has been made. Merlin will be the largest crypto tracker in the world. I like to predict things because I can look at patterns and historical patterns and behaviors and how people act, walk, and talk. And this will be one of the largest is the largest crypto tracker in the world. So very, very excited. Thank you, Live and Rich. We really appreciate you guys. And thank you for, being on this journey with us and giving us grace through this process. We say that often because we're always starting new companies. And we always say to our team, thank you for the grace. Thank you for bearing with us. Thank you to the people behind the scenes, James and Chris, and, all the people that are working on this code and the programming. I've learned when I was out in Connecticut with you, just hearing, I'm smart enough to talk about it, or I'm dangerous enough to talk about it, right? I understand how to use it and functionalities and stuff, but to understand how much effort is put into this. And there's a big difference between what was created. This was built from the ground up. Every single line of code was built by this team. It's not some, plug and play, white labeled app thing like this. This is from ground up innovation. Merlin is truly, and that is trademarked, Merlin is truly the smartest way to track your crypto. So make sure you go to the description of this video to be very clear. So if you're new to YouTube, if you go down the description, you see the description of the video, click there, you can go down there, you can get your 30-day free trial, go in there, get all your cryptos in there and start playing around with it, start practicing. Like it's just like anything else. You can't hit a home run unless you take up to bats and swing. Practice, get in your exit strategy, start to dive in. If you're in the academy, like I said, Andrew Cashflow's course, he's really good at teaching people how to get in, how to get out, how to set exit targets. Within our academy, we have our exit plan. And then eventually in the future, the influencers' exit plans will be in their mind specifically. But again, also everybody's exit targets are different, but it's good to have a frame of reference, right? Kind of like a center focal point to be like, that's what it looks like. Okay. And so everybody has different buy-in targets. I was at dollar cost averaging XRP at 17 cents. So mine may be different from somebody who came in at 50 cents, right? So it's just different exit targets, but it's just having that frame of reference. But remember, I always tell people, that I coach, it's like a shitty plan is better than no plan. That is facts. That is super facts. If you don't plan, you plan to fail, right? And it's like, you have to have a plan in everything in life, guys. And one thing I'll share with you guys, just from an entrepreneurial standpoint, is we've been teaching a lot this in our academy and helping people. You have to suffer with purpose. That's the key. And so the suffering of the late nights and the millions of conference calls you guys were on, and the dedication, the discipline, the codes and the phone calls, and all the customer support that's been put into this, it's suffering with purpose, and you will be greatly rewarded for it. So we appreciate you. And anything else, any last words you'd like to say?
Coach, yeah. Well, first, I'd love to answer this guy's question. I think this is an important question here. So, yes, guys, if we don't have your exchange, here's another thing we did. We created a manual tool so you can actually add any exchange you want and any coin you want manually. So it's in there. We thought about that as well. And I do want to thank so many people. And if I throw out names, I know I'm going to miss names, so I'm not going to do that this time. There is one name I'm going to thank, though. I am going to thank Gonzo because I missed them last time. Gonzo, appreciate you. But to the whole team, there's so many people working behind the scenes on it. Appreciate and love you all to bring this wonderful app to everybody. And Coach, you specifically, I also want to give you a big shout out, a big hug, and a kiss to you. Thank you so much for your supportiveness in the whole process and being part of it the whole time as well, and to be able to help get this out there. We love you guys and appreciate you.
Love you too. I've been saying, man, this is my day. I've been waiting to unleash the beast, and you're about to see Merlin all over my social media platforms, so get used to it. We love you guys. We appreciate you. As we always say, warriors, rise, get your shit together and track your crypto. Love you guys.
Love you. Let's go.